There's been a lot of whining online, people orbiting dealerships, whining that the dealers are greedy and the prices for new vehicles are too expensive and nobody's going to pay it, and those greedy dealers are going to go out of business. You wait and see. Today, I'm here to tell you the truth and keep it real. Those dealers aren't going out of business, and I'm going to tell you today why now is the best time to buy a new vehicle. But hold on. Trigger warning. If you are in any way sensitive, you're not going to like this video. Turn back now. Okay, if you're still here, we're going to cut right to the chase. Believe it or not, now is the best time to buy a new vehicle. People complain, I know, that the prices are ridiculous, and who's paying these ridiculous high prices from these greedy dealerships for these new vehicles? And the answer is quite simply, everyone is. But here's what I want to say that's more important. Anytime somebody says, oh, these prices are super high, super duper high, guess what? Those prices are actually the lowest for the foreseeable future. What I'm saying is quite simple. These high prices that we talk about now that are so high, in a few years, months, whatever, they're going to seem low by comparison or contrast. Check this out. It's one of my kids' old kindergarten books, and that's what I'm going to use today to explain why now is the best time to buy a new car, despite people claiming that the prices are high. Here we see what kindergartens are tasked to do, which is finish the pattern. So here we can see some blue triangle, red circle, you got to finish the pattern. Red square, yellow square, and the kindergartner is supposed to finish the pattern. They're supposed to identify what the heck is going on based on the past, to then therefore deduce what the future is going to be. And that's exactly what I'm getting at here. In America, since recorded history, there's always been economic inflation. The government prints the money, the prices go up. This is why your great-grandma said that the gallon of milk was only 1 penny back in the day, and then it was 2 pennies, and then 3 pennies, and 4 pennies, 6 pennies, 10 cents, $1, $3, $4, $5, $6, to whatever it is today. And we're not, of course, just talking about gallons of milk. We're talking about everything. Everything inflates. Just like the pattern book you just saw, there's a pattern of this. So the vehicle prices that you're seeing today in the dealer that people are complaining are too expensive and the dealers are going to go under. They're going to learn their lesson. Not quite, because it's just following simple, basic inflation. And basic inflation is just what it sounds like, basic. Everything goes up since anybody can remember. That's what's happening. Cars cost a lot today because the pattern book says that it's going to keep inflating. That's what history says. That's what patterns show. And that's the end of the story. It's as simple as that. Now, somebody's going to eventually say, or a lot of people like to say, that yeah, we know about inflation, but they never inflate our wages. Prices go up, but our wages go down. And that's not true. You know that's not true. When I started working, minimum wage was $4.12. Today, McDonald's hires teenagers for $20 an hour. When I started working at $4.12 for minimum wage, a brand new Toyota Corolla cost $13,000.
I promised my wife I'd sell it when we bought the new one. But every time I look at Dad's old Corolla, I remember the first time he brought it home.
Well, what do you think?
He was so proud. He said, these cars are built to last. And he was right.
The Toyota Corolla, over 15 million happy memories and still counting.
Sell Dad's Corolla? Sure, for about $1 million.
By contrast, today a new Toyota Corolla costs $22,000. The Corolla barely doubled in price, or inflated in price 2 times, but the minimum wage is $20 an hour. So wages do go up. People do make more. It's just conveniently forgotten. And then there's this, this rage about why are prices so high? What gives? Something's not adding up. It is adding up. You got paid more, so stuff costs more. Basic inflation 101. The government dumps a bunch of money onto the market. People borrow it, obtain it, whatever. The point is it enters the greater economy. Wages go up, so the stuff people buy with their wages goes up. It's as simple as that. I can't really simplify this anymore. That if you're shocked that a minivan, for instance, our 2022 Sienna costs like 50 or 55 grand, and that's too much for a minivan, blah. That's just what they cost. That's what it is. And it's hard to argue that it's a crazy price with someone at McDonald's making not $4 an hour, $20 an hour. And forget about when I was a kid, go back further, and great-great-grandpa made 50 cents a day, and his rent was 10 cents a month, and he made $20 a year. Yeah, I'm making fun of the ridiculous inflation because it is ridiculous. The whole thing is ridiculous. But, like the children's book, we can see a clear pattern that has never in American history changed. So why would it be any different now in 2024? Right now is the best time to buy a car if you can afford it. We'll talk about that in a second. Because right now, what you think is high, like I said in the beginning of the video, this is actually the new low. You know how we look back at gas prices and go, boy, remember when gas was only $1, only $1.50, only $2, only $3? You didn't think you'd ever look back and go, wow, I wish we had $2 a gallon gas. Wow, that was good times. No, during that time you thought it was expensive. But now we think that is cheap and low, okay? You get what I'm rambling here. You earn more, so the stuff costs more. This ratio, this balance of attainability, let's call it the attainability ratio, has always generally been the same. So if you're making, whatever time period we're in, generally speaking, what you make, and let's say something like a car is going to be, this level of attainability. Put whatever variable you want on it. Call it a variable of 10 of attainability between what the average worker makes and what the car costs is an attainability factor of 10. Okay, that doesn't change. Despite the inflation and this, that, and the other, it's still just as hard as a teenager at McDonald's to obtain a new Toyota Corolla as it was for me way back in the day at $4 an hour to obtain a Toyota Corolla. Now, of course, there's different fluctuations, and I'm not going through every single market, but you do know and you do realize that everything inflates. No matter what it is you're talking about, it used to be cheaper back then, and you also made less back then. Now everything's more now, but you also make more. So what does this all boil down to? It boils down to stop whining, and if you can obtain it, if you can afford it. Again, this is not a video on, we should have free cars. It's not a communist video of people should just have stuff for free and cheap. That's not what this is about. I'm simply saying, see the trees for the forest or the forest for the trees, however you want to say it. Don't look micro, back up and look macro. Look at the big picture, and you'll see that this is simply situation normal. This is what it does. Prices are not going to go down on new cars and trucks. They will go up along with your wages. So don't waste time if you want something on a dealer lot. If you're into a new Toyota Tundra, or you need a minivan, or you're into some new sports car or motorcycle, or whatever it is you see on the lot that you think is too expensive and you can afford it. Yeah, it's expensive, but you can swing it. Get it now, because all you're doing by waiting for prices to go down and dealers to learn their lesson, that's not going to happen, but waiting for dealers to get their comeuppance, all you're doing is wasting your own time. You're wasting time that you could have enjoying your new vehicle, your new truck, SUV, car, motorcycle, skateboard, whatever. You're just wasting time with this pipe dream that prices somehow go down. Gas never went down. Remember the housing bubble? The housing prices never went down. You name it, when people whined, it never went down. All you're doing by fighting this fact, this economic pattern, this historical pattern in the United States and around the world, but just focus on the United States, all you're doing is wasting your own time you have to enjoy the things you like on this earth while you're alive. So remember the pattern in the book. Everything's inflates. You're lying to yourself if you think wages haven't increased and don't increase along with inflation. In fact, you can look up the numbers. I've said the minimum wage stuff. It increases. It's all relative. It's all connected. That ratio of attainability, no matter what market we're talking about, is always the same. So don't fight that. Instead, embrace the pattern, embrace reality, and make it work for you if it's something you want.
Now someone's gonna say, nah, hold on, the dealers, look at the lots. There's so much inventory all over their lot, and that means they're not selling. They can't get those cars off their lot. And that's simply not true. People have forgotten what it was like before the pandemic. Other than that narrow section in recent history called the pandemic, before that, every dealer had inventory. There was no such thing as an empty dealer. And no, that didn't mean that they weren't selling cars. Dealers always had tons of cars on their lot. It's called a loss leader. It's called bring it to get it. It's called you got to spend money to make money. There's a million silly names for putting this facade or putting a certain amount of inventory out so your lot doesn't look under supplied or with low inventory or otherwise ghetto.
This is not saying that if you cannot afford something that you should somehow go out of your way and get into debt or do ridiculous things in order to obtain something. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you know you can attain it and you're just like, yeah, I just wish it was a little cheaper, go ahead and do it. If you can't afford it, no matter what period in history, it doesn't matter what we're talking, great-grandmother's time, there's people that couldn't afford stuff, and there's people now that can't afford stuff, and there's people in the future that can't afford stuff. But I do think a lot of this orbiting dealers and whining about the prices is just wasteful, and it's not historically accurate, and it doesn't match basic kindergarten level pattern intelligence. You know what inflation is, you know what's happening, this is not a shock, this is not a surprise, and you know that you're not making what you made 10 years ago or 20 years ago or 30 years ago or however long you've been working. You make a lot more, so your cars cost a lot more. So, welcome to reality. Enjoy it. Make it work for you. Nothing's going down. So all you need to focus on is what you really want right now in your life. And make it happen if you can. If you can't make it happen, well, that's not what this video is about. Maybe check out some other YouTube channels for that. But if you can make it happen, don't waste time wishing upon a star that prices will go down just to make it that extra special cozy for you. It won't happen. Instead, do it, enjoy it. And I'll tell you, if you're watching this video in the future and you go, by the way, hi, in the future, if you're watching this video in the future and you go, look at them whining about a car price is a $50,000 minivan. Wow, minivans today cost $80,000 or $100,000. Look at them whining. All right, enough nonsense. Remember, we're just having fun and games here and just kidding around to make it entertaining. Do you get your stuff, buy what you want if you can afford it. Don't waste time hoping prices will be more convenient for you. It won't happen. I've rambled enough.